Hey everyone, you're listening to the Active Turnkey Podcast, a podcast designed for hands-off, passive real estate rental investors. In the Active Turnkey Podcast, you'll hear Tom Olson and Jared Stoltmeister discuss all things turnkey rentals with other turnkey providers, service providers, and rental investors. Our goal is to help you reach your financial freedom and whatever comes after that. Let's go. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Active Turnkey Podcast. I'm your host, Jared Stoltmeister, and I have with us the Tom Olson.
We're here. That's me today.
We're back. Actually, the last couple of podcasts we haven't been together. So you did a couple on your own.
Yeah, and one I think by myself.
And you had one with your son?
I had Zach on. That was a very popular podcast.
Oh, yeah, it was huge. Yeah.
I tell everybody I used to be cute, and then I turned 12 too. So everybody just thinks Zach's so cute. I got all these people texting me saying, I saw Zach on the podcast, and now Zach thinks he's popular, and he has a big head now. So we probably have to figure out how to get his head a little smaller.
Yeah. He's a hotshot podcaster, YouTuber.
Radio host.
Yeah.
He does join me on the radio from time to time.
That's true.
With our church's radio show, I try to host that about once or twice a month. So today, Jared, we're going to talk about a new and exciting program that we have decided to unveil to our owners.
Yeah. So this is very specific to our. So if you know our company, you know that Olson Group, soon to be One Group. We're going to release that here soon, but
Olson Property Services.
Olson soon to be One Property
Solution.
Right.
Yes.
So we have different companies under our Olson Group network umbrella, and so this podcast is really geared toward that our investors, our owners who own, that we manage their properties. And so we have a program we're going to unveil.
So we started seeing the last couple of years, we've been seeing eviction costs go up. We've been seeing a lot of it take a lot more time for us, especially during COVID. And we were really hesitant to try to do anything, change anything during COVID, charge extra fees, do anything like that, because we really wanted to make sure that we got through it, we got our owners through it. And I do feel like we're starting to come out on the other side. I know I talked to Dave yesterday, and he had 10 evictions, and I think 8 out of the 10, the judge literally told him, you have 1 week to pay or you're out. And he also went so far as to mention, and it will be on your permanent record. And, to have a judge say that, that's a little bit,
that's what it's supposed to do.
That's what I feel like they should say, right? But anyways, but it's taking us a lot longer to make these things happen. And on top of that, there's been lots of extra challenges. And some of our owners have kind of come to us and said, hey, man, these costs are getting expensive. They've kind of even asked, a couple of people have asked if there's any kind of programs for that. And kind of in our networking and in a property manager that we were vetting ourselves to be able to go out and have them manage our properties in Florida, we came across, another company doing this, and we thought, hey, this might be a good program for our owners as well. So we're calling it the Eviction Protection Program. If you are one of our customers, and if we do manage your properties, you're going to get the opportunity to enroll in this program. I can read some of this, but Jared, what are your thoughts on this? You've got several properties as well,
true.
And I think the people that think I'd rather have the smaller payment and I'd rather just kind of keep it all, it's a kind of I don't want to call it insurance, but it's kind of like the same reason why you have insurance. Is to either pay it all at once when a big bill happens, because not everybody has an eviction every year or even every couple of years. You might have a property that doesn't have an eviction for 10 years. But when that the time comes, I think we looked at our properties and all the properties that we manage, and we said, okay, out of the 450 properties or so that we manage, we've had this many evictions throughout the year, and different numbers are going to be different, right? Like if we take over a property and it already has a problem tenant in it, we might have a little higher number on those versus people that we place, we know are a lot lower.
Well, to kind of get to your question, I think when we were selling turnkeys 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, we can kind of give you a shell expectation. Like this is what it looks like. This is the timeline. This is how it should almost always look when you have an eviction. I mean, there were factors, but you could kind of gauge the timeline. It was very streamlined, and you knew what to expect. In this case, it seems like from situation to situation, they're different. It always, of course, having a different attorney, or excuse me, a different judge affects that. But from time to time, they may say, I mean, we've had it where they would say, okay, if you can bring this much money by this date, you can stay, and that means you can't evict them at all. So of course,
as long as they bring in the money.
As long as they bring the money, right. Well, in that month, you can't evict them if they bring the money, and so that means anything you would have paid your attorney, well, there you go. You're still paid your attorney for that cost and for his time and then you have to go through that again. Sometimes they do go through the process. Sometimes it depends on if you need to send a 30-day letter. And talking with the property management today, some of these things are dependent upon your county. So that county, like LaPorte County, which is 2 counties away from where we're at, Lake County, we manage a lot there as well, and they have their own systems and processes. And so knowing all that stuff is helpful. But if you're going to get more properties, if you get more properties, you should expect the odds of you having to evict it's just going to go up. And again, pre-COVID, Indiana was a owner-friendly state, and it was a non-issue, right? It really wasn't that big of a deal. Well, in today's world, I still think Indiana is better than certainly most states. But it's just not the same, right? It's just not the same as it was, and it may take some time to stabilize.
Right, and it's so right now we're looking at this as taking our team about 20 to 25 hours, and like I said, we haven't been charging anything extra for this. I do foresee us in the coming years possibly having to charge a little bit extra from our team for that. Plus, in addition to that, just the courts and the attorneys and everything is costing between $500 and $600 for all that to happen. Plus, on top of that, if the tenant decides not to move out when they're told to move out, then you have to pay the sheriff to come out and actually get them out of the property. That's another $100 to make that happen. So, so this is kind of what this is all going to include. And for us, we had to come up with a number we felt was going to at least break us even. Maybe we make a little bit of money on this. Maybe we don't. I don't know. But we're just going to kind of throw this out there right now. So right now, we're going to charge $15 a month. If you want to be in this program, if you're one of our current owners, you're going to be getting this form out, and it's super simple. It's not high pressure. You want to participate or you don't want to participate. We are going to charge this on a one-time a year basis. So if you're bringing a property new and it's like March or April, it'll be prorated. If not, we'll be charging these in January for this. So what it does cover, I do want to make sure I explain what it covers. This protection will cover our team's time, the attorney's office to file the appropriate court documents and all the court costs that go along with that as well, and the cost for the sheriff if they have to come and remove the tenant. I will also throw this out that we are not going to allow this protection to be for properties that we already know we have a problem tenant. Yeah. Obviously that's not fair to anybody. Yeah. So we're not doing that. And we also do reserve the right to maybe not allow this if we've had a problem with a particular tenant or a property or an owner or really for any reason. We do reserve the right not to extend this possibility. Something it does not cover, so I do want to make sure that we do cover that as well, is it does not cover if you have to have an appeals, if there's extra, court things that have to go on, for a particular tenant or a particular issue. It also does not cover if you're going after a tenant for damages or something like that. That's over and beyond the actual eviction process. So it's really kind of most things, everything, I shouldn't say everything, but most things it's going to cover inside the eviction program. And it's going to be super easy for you to enroll. Like I said, Cheryl is going to be sending out an email to all of our owners, and this is going to be part of our new property management agreement packet that we send out for, and it's just a simple box. I do not wish to participate. I do wish to participate. I believe there will be some of you that will want to take advantage of this, and there will be some of you that say, nope, I would rather just pay for this as the bills come, and I'll take my chances. Whoever that is, that's fine. I want to let you guys know that's totally fine with us. It doesn't matter to us one way or another, and we're not trying to push this. But it is something we felt like we could offer, and to the people that want to take advantage of it, they would be happy with the program. We feel like we've priced it right, and we feel like it's a fair amount for everybody. Because like I said, you might go, 4 or 5. This pretty much, I mean, if you think about it, like if you might be paying $800, I think in the end, $180 a year pretty much gets you 6 years, for that. So if you want to kind of run your own numbers on your own properties and see if this is something that you guys want to do, that'd be great. It's going to be called the Eviction Protection Program, and we're excited about getting it out.
So this is on a per property basis, right? So it's a per property.
Yep.
And then as far as, again, OPS, they manage my properties, so I'm asking questions that I like to learn as I'm learning about what this is. So it's per property, and this is annual. So the next year I'd have to do it again per property. Okay, that's good to know. And then what other things should? So if I'm a prospective person, I'm trying to learn more about what else should I know, or what else should I be asking about it? Well, okay, let me back up. One thing, like even recently, we've had investors that for some reason on the line, there's confusion over even rent. Like this definitely has nothing to do with rent. This is not any debt collection where someone owes rent.
Nope.
And it seems like there is some confusion over that, where someone, if they buy a property, they think they're just automatically supposed to have money coming to them every month, like there's a guarantee of some kind.
And there is insurances you can buy for that.
True.
Believe it or not, like there are insurance that you can buy, and the company that we normally do let people. If you guys do need that information, please let us know. We can send you a link, and it lets them know that we helped you find that.
Yep.
And we have a good relationship with our insurance provider, but they do offer those type of rent protection programs. But I think the biggest question, to come back to your question, what questions should you be asking, is really like, are you the type of person that would either you can afford it or can't, you know what I mean? Like part of this is like, is it better for me to actually have the protection, or is it better for me to kind of, in some ways, self-insure? Like, I mean, there are people out there that they don't have any insurance, health insurance, anything, or car insurance or whatever. And they say, I have the money. If I have a problem, I'll have a problem. I don't want to have to pay insurance. I don't want to have to pay for any kind of protection programs, and I'll just pay for the fees when they come in. So if you are that type of person, then this program is probably not for you. But if you're the type of person that says, hey, I would rather just be safe, than sorry, and I don't want to get, that big bill. Maybe you're on a fixed income. Maybe this is something that you're relying on to make sure that, you have the cash flow to live on. I think that's going to be the people that would more want, if it was, for me, that's what I would be thinking about. Again, it's not a big teaser. It's not a big push. It is just something that we're excited to be able to offer to our clients, and we hope that if if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out. I don't really think there's much more questions. We've pretty much I think covered everything, where what it does include, what it doesn't include, and how much it costs, and that you got to just determine for yourself if you think it's something that is going to be something that you want to do or not.
Yeah, I don't know if this makes sense at all. I guess I'm trying to think along with you, but it seems I was talking to a client this week about evictions and about just how it's possible, and you can help me with this, Tom, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's possible that given what we went through with COVID, and then the fact we couldn't evict, almost seems like we've trained people to think they don't have to pay.
Yes, no, we're definitely coming through an era that, and I'm glad to see that at least some of the courts that we're going to are kind of getting back to what should be contract law that states you say that you're going to pay this amount of money, you don't pay this amount of money. I've heard I have the right to pay you late. I've heard that from tenants. I've also heard, what was the other one that I just heard recently? Man, it kind of goes along the lines with you can't evict me. like,
Wow.
well, like, or people have the right not to pay at all or something. I'm like, and you're right. I do believe that, our response, I've said this from the very get-go. I believe that our response to COVID was worse than COVID. And I still believe that.
Yeah.
I still believe that we've messed up so many, people. You're even seeing now the kids that their test scores are so low and they can't figure out why. For the last 2 years, their test scores are so low. And in one state, I forgot which state it was, I think it's Michigan, is considering not making reading one of the things that they wouldn't pass a student for to go on to the next grade. Wow. And I'm like, reading, if there's anything that's important about learning something in school, it is reading.
Yeah.
So, this, I do believe that part of, what we're going through right now is because of the response that we made, because we allowed people not to be responsible.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I was talking to another investor this morning where, we didn't have this problem in Indiana. And I've even gotten with my team and saw like what we've done, and we've calculated how much money we helped our owners get through COVID from government assistance. We helped our owners get over $500,000.
Yeah, that's insane.
So we, and to me, I think that's a big deal. Like we took the responsibility personal, and we said, hey, how can we be a good steward for our owners?
Yeah, very proactive.
And, we were proactive. We went out to the tenants. We helped them fill out their forms. We said we could do as much of the stuff with you, for you as possible. We just can't sign it, and we can't mail it out. And in Indiana, at least in our programs, the money came directly to the property management company or to the owners. In some states, that wasn't the case. In some states, I can't even imagine what they were thinking.
They went to the tenant?
They literally went to the tenants, and then the tenants didn't pay. So I can't imagine what those people are going through.
Brilliant.
But, you're right. There's a lot of tenants out there. So I feel like it's a good thing for us to be able to say, hey, we helped our owners. I mean, and we could say we helped the tenants too. I don't think every tenant that we helped needed that money.
Sure.
I just don't. And that was I feel like one of the biggest flaws, if you ask me, of the whole program was the fact that the government was giving away money to people that didn't really need it. They didn't lose their job. There was nothing that really changed other than, we were in a pandemic.
Yeah.
Say what you will. I'm sure somebody will want to criticize that whole statement. But I'm telling you, we didn't make people responsible. We gave them money, and then we still didn't make them be responsible. It doesn't make any sense. If you're going to give them money, well, then they should have to pay the rent or they should be evicted.
Right.
Again, in our state, we helped them. There were 7 people that I still remember Cheryl talking about this, 7 people that still wouldn't fill out the forms. And we finally evicted them after their leases ran out. But seriously, you're right. This has kind of changed. And who knows how long of a change it is. Hopefully, we will get back to what we think is normal. But I do feel like, if anything, the line's been pushed. The line's been pushed in every state, probably, and in every court, at least a little bit. Yeah. Instead of taking personal responsibility, even now, even hearing what I heard yesterday, that they said, you have a week to pay. That didn't used to be the case. It used to be can you pay now? It used to be. If you can pay now, then the fine. Date. If not,
at the court date,
we're done.
When it was,
so I feel like at least to me saying at least it's if you can pay within a week, then fine. I'm much more happy with that than giving them another month or giving them another whatever period of time. But anyways, I do think this is something that could be helpful to some of you, and if it is, great, and if it's not, then that's fine too.
Sure.
We're over here just always trying to improve and trying to be good stewards for you, our owners. We appreciate every single one of you guys for trusting us with your properties and trusting us to try to make your properties perform as best as we possibly can.
Absolutely. And so we do have quite a bit going on here. A lot of things happening.
Beginning of the year, yearlies, quarterlies.
We have
new plans,
branding changes that are coming up that you'll be seeing.
We're going to do a podcast about that.
It's the unveiling we could say. Not much is changing, but just the name, same team, same company, same ownership. And
same old.
That's all going to be the same. We just one thing that's just been huge has been Active Turnkey. We sold a house yesterday, Active Turnkey, to an investor, and that part is becoming it seems like now more deal flow is coming, and we're getting a lot of traction with people who just they want to do it. And so that's been interesting. And so there's a lot more to discuss, a lot more to talk about. And but if you appreciate this podcast, we definitely like to let us know and let other people know, and it helps brings value to other people.
Yes, and Active Turnkey, we are probably going to do a series on Active Turnkey.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Little snippets.
Yeah.
And if you're one of those investors that haven't watched one of these videos for a while, or you maybe were one of the older investors that did a lot of the Active Turnkeys early on, and you didn't know that we were offering that again, get in touch with us. I think we've got 5 or 6 hot buyers right now that are just looking for that next Active Turnkey. We sent one out, and it was literally gone super fast again. And interest rates are coming down, so there are some things that we're starting to see that are good. I talked to a local lender as well that actually their bank wants to invest in Gary, Indiana, which I like that. So we've got great relationships with our national lenders, Aaron and Jerry, and the people that we normally recommend. But I'm also excited in the future here to be able to offer you guys a local option as well that will do not just the regular investor loans, but also do commercial loans as well for you guys as well. So we're excited about the things that we have coming on this year.
Yeah, we are not standing pat.
No.
We are trying to bring value here and improve, and we definitely have a long way to go.
And we know we need to improve.
Yes, we do, but we're trying. We're looking, and we're really excited about what 2023 is going to look like. So stay tuned. Each time there may be something that may change. It's so interesting. And just in closing, Tom has a friend that goes to masterminds, and he says every time he goes to a mastermind, he gets $1 million idea. And just recently, Tom was able to go with our property management team to an event in the Bahamas, and they got some great ideas down there. Oh, did I say Jamaica? Oh, sorry, forgive me, Jamaica. And so you just never know what podcast, what thing might pop out that could change the way you see things and what could have you go. So definitely pay attention.
A lot of stuff changing, a lot of stuff that we're doing to try to improve ourselves. We're excited about it. So hopefully you will be too.
Stay tuned. All right.
Just remember, we do build rental portfolios for investors. If you're interested in that, you guys can get a hold of Jared. He loves to talk to you and have your questions. You can get a hold of him at Jared, Jarrod.
That's right.
At buyolsongroup.com. That's BUYOLSON group.com. He's going to have another email coming soon, but you'll still be able to get a hold of him at the Buy Olson Group email. Just so you guys know, we're throwing a little too many teases out there.
Yeah, we are. This is awesome, right? You guys having fun out there? I bet you are.
I think you guys are. And Amelia's going to have fun trying to edit this podcast, I'm sure.
She loves it.
Should we talk about? No, forget it. We have more new stuff coming. We're going to talk about it in the episodes.
My friend, is a real teaser when you don't give the answer. So there is more to come. We appreciate you joining us today. Active Turnkey,
the best way to buy rentals.
See you guys.
Have a good day.
Olson Group Network makes no warranty, guarantee, or representation as to the accuracy or sufficiency of the information featured in this podcast. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only, and any reliance on the information provided in this podcast is done at your own risk. This podcast should not be considered professional advice. Unless specifically stated otherwise, Olson Group Network does not endorse, approve, recommend, or certify any information, product, process, service, or organization presented or mentioned in this podcast, and information from this podcast should not be referenced in any way to imply such approval or endorsement. Any third-party materials or content of any third-party site referenced in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the opinions, standards, or policies of Olson Group Network. Olson Group Network assumes no responsibility or liability for the accuracy or completeness of the content contained in third-party materials or on third-party sites referenced in this podcast or the compliance with the applicable laws of such materials and/or links referenced herein.